Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The World Championship is now well underway and a massive result going down today in terms of the trajectory of this championship and who's potentially going to win the entire thing. G2 versus Paper X, a massive first round matchup here in the group stages, and G2 honestly made this one look easy. What's going on with Paper X? Are they not going to be the team this event that they were expecting themselves to be? Loads of other drama as well. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Of course, Sentinels in a few days time on the 8th of August. They play their crucial lower round 1 game against FPX. If they win, they advance, of course, to have a chance to qualify again through the group stages. If they lose, they're done. And of course, FPX looks pretty damn nice in their first game up against Heretics. Aspas, of course, was in action yesterday, in action in and outside of the server, because here he is absolutely pumping the the punch machine, or whatever they call this thing, and popping a pretty damn nice score to that as well. This from Zekken I thought was pretty interesting. Whoever's DDoSing the hotel, please stop. Now, is this an intentional thing, or what's going on here, right? Because, of course, the players, they're trying to play from their hotel, right, obviously, and they're obviously having issues potentially with that if somebody is DDoSing the hotel Wi-Fi. How big of a problem this has and continues to be, and whether it's someone, like, intentionally trying to sabotage the players, that's another question, but, you know, thankfully it seems it's all right for the players, but nonetheless not ideal for these guys trying to prepare well for their next game. Here's Texture, by the way, taking a picture with a couple of guys. I love this type of stuff, by the way, as well, like when these guys go to the internationals, because there aren't too many events, and these guys, you know, will not see each other that often each year. And obviously we do have rivalries within the various regions and players who don't get along with each other, but it is nice to see some mutual respect for players' rights, because of course here's Texture with Zeltis, here's Texture with Tens as well. Of course Gen.G relatively comfortably took down Sentinels the other day, and there was another pretty similar saga today, to be quite honest. Now, let's talk about what happened yesterday, because a couple of big results going down. This was pretty absurd, I'm not going to lie here. Here goes the Neon with the operator in hand as well. Governor gets this kill. And Talon versus Leviathan yesterday was actually a spectacular series and was a very competitive one, mainly thanks to their main man. And this, I think, is the impressive part about Primmie's career, is the way that it started, to be perfectly honest. When we first talked about Primmie a few weeks ago now, when Talon were going to bring him in for their qualifier, it was like, okay, how's he going to do, right? How's he going to fare in the qualifier? Can they make it through? Are they going to get, you know, to the playoffs, right, basically? Are they going to get through to champs, which eventually they did? And how's he going to do at champs, right? Because typically players that are new to the scene, they're going to take a bit of time to get there, a bit of time to warm up, a bit of time to find their footing in the game. But it's quite clear that Primmie's mechanical skill is on a level with very few other players in maybe even like FPS history in some respects. So this guy is built different. But of course, Leviathan on paper, heavy favourites for this series. Aspas unbelievable. We know how it is. And FNS actually gives a lot of credit here to Com. I think for good reason, to be fair, because Com's been under some relatively heavy fire this season. Won the World Championship last year. Joins different team this season. And, you know, has he had the most success? Okay, look, they haven't won champs yet. And who knows who's going to win this year's World Championship, because it's rather competitive as it stands. But nonetheless, Com, despite you know, he's going to hit the flanks, he's going to, let's say, not drop the greatest numbers. But FNS says that looking at his arrow on the minimap, this guy is easily the most underrated player in the game as it stands. The trash talk was pretty funny, by the way. So as Tech says, my entire team clears him, as in this Primmie guy, and Governor says, don't ever insult my goat like that. You're the traffic code on defense. You're a traffic code on defense. I think this is referring to a tweet. I don't know if it was Aspas's mother or something, but like, I think some mother of a player on Lev or some team referred to Tex as a traffic code or something like that earlier this year. So I think that's what this is a reference to. I'm not 100% sure, but like, good trash talk anyway. Lev take the win. 2-0, comfortable, right? Easy dub. But honestly, not so clear as that. Lev and, you know, it was King and Aspas, of course, dropping the numbers there, but Primmie was like really impressive here. Like, the bind was nice for sure. And this is a map that Talon could definitely have won. I think many people watched this map and said, wow, okay, Talon was not familiar with your game. But the Ascent was the map really where Primmie showed that, you know, he is a force to be reckoned with, right? On the Sage here, 22 in 13. Nobody else on his team even had more than 10. So that was quite the map here from Primmie, really. But Lev, like, they are the stronger team. They got the job done. they move on 2-0, but certainly Primmie with a bright future in the sport. Another critical game though going down yesterday, Trace Esports versus Vitality. We were kind of wondering, I guess, this tournament, when is going to be, are we going to get a big upset, are we going to get a big surprise in the group stages in terms of who goes through, who goes out? And it's often the Chinese teams you're looking at, right? Because it's tough to say how good they really are. We know how good Edward have been domestically, but internationally, Edward Gaming have not really delivered what, we might have hoped to see with them really stepping it up. FPX have arguably been better and continue to look pretty good, but this was Trace Esports versus Team Vitality, and this was a 2-1 win. Trex tried his best, Kicks had a rough time on Vitality. I know there's been talk as well about potential changes they might need to make, but, this is a well-rounded team effort, I think, across the board here from the Trace Esports guys. They eventually won the Ascent in a crazy overtime after nearly getting comebacked on. They did get the dub. They lost the Sunset, though, but bounced back 13-7 on the bind with a massive finish to their offensive half. This was not even close to the end of this bind, and this is pretty crazy, right, because this player, Bianc, who was on BLG, who took down NRG last year, he's now on Trace Esports, and he took them down, of course, different team, but still a big upset in the books this year as well. So that was a great storyline, really. Billy, of course, did go down to Fnatic the other day, so they're not maybe going to make that run happen again. And yeah, this is how things were going in Group C. But of course, Group D was what was getting underway today, and it was time for G2 and PRX to take to the table. Now, I think this series, to me, I was looking at G2 as arguably the favourites, I think, for this series, because the PaperX style is doubly gaming, right? We know what people talk about, and it can be effective, but I think the way that G2 play is in many respects designed to counter PaperX. I genuinely think that there's not one opposition in the world that PaperX will have a harder time with than G2. I just think that's the way that they match up stylistically is just awful for PaperX. And the question is whether this is an acceptable reality, right? Because the way that PaperX play tends to, it just gets hard countered by G2. And this series was one of those series that wasn't as close as it looked. I mean, it was 13-8, 13-9. But I think in many respects, this series felt not even as close as it looked on the scoreboard, really. I mean, G2 frankly dominated this game in large part, and it never really felt like they were going to look back. It was only kind of odd rounds here or there from PaperX. They were winning on the first side of Lotus, and then eventually G2 got over the line and won. Very impressive, I think, from Trent on the fade. But yeah, PaperX, I mean, questions on the team in general. I think questions on Jing to some extent as well here. I will say as well, the agent meta right now is fascinating because there's no one clear meta that's emerging. I mean, we're seeing the Sage come into play. We're seeing Neons come into play that G2 were not even using. But yeah, interesting, right? That in some sense, PaperX might have even looked better when Monyut was on the team. I don't know. And maybe it's just the G2 stylistic matchup that plays a part in this. But it's just going to be so difficult, I think, for PaperX to win an international when their playstyle is, they often find themselves in a situation where they're not trading, they're not playing, their teamwork isn't as good because they're so aggressive that they end up going 1-by-1, and G2 are a very cohesive unit, and they're able to just capitalize on that.
Yo, this kid is insane. What the fuck?
That he's being surrounded, and he is slowly closed in, and is Primmie with a third kill of the round again.
Primmie MVP.
They're looking to take this only now, stacking up and making the push.
Nice. Oh wow. Oh wow.
And Primmie hits it. Defense.
Is it Prius again?
Good.
Prius just didn't want to watch Primmie that round, or what?
He is 21-9.
Bang.
The next
Bang.
three
Bang.
players on his team combined.
21-9. 21-9 on Sage. This kid is him.
Even anyone remotely
hard round to win.
Everything else is going to be those stingers. He just wants to try and get something out of it revealed.
They're so good at being careful.
Well, that flash sends all the support backwards. Jing's caught, still blinded up. Hunter's Fury goes through, though. Forsaken able to trade out onto Icy. Gets the push out of Divide. Back and forth, the kills go, but it's still G2 with the advantage. If they catch Mind Freak for free, it could be something, but he's freaking out and gliding Leaf down. The defuse already halfway. He's sticking it all the way.
Oh my god, we are trash!
On a sliver of health, gets it across the line.
He's trying so hard.
I don't have words, bro. I don't have words.
Boy, he's so low at the time, but this must have been just the biggest jump scare ever. 20 HP.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Alex, it's danger
oh my god.
Yeah. sat in the smoke, waiting for it to fade. It's going to be a duel between himself and Jing, and
Please,
it's
bro.
Devi's gone too. That should have been where he is, and now the rest of the util comes
Ah,
in.
man. We can't get more than a kill, dude.
That's an absolutely gorgeous play.
You guys even remember before the tournament where Jonah P was taking some heat for effectively saying our G2 are chokers, or well, we're chokers, and therefore they're bigger chokers, right? That was the point, that, oh, we choke, but they're going to choke harder than us type thing. But as he says, like, we could have choked, but we didn't, so it was a great game, and we didn't even give them the opportunity to choke. We just outclassed them 2-0. It was a 2-0 this time rather than a 2-1, and he says, I think they got better, but we were just better ourselves, right? You know, so very impressive, I thought, as VALORANT says, great first win in Champions. One more win, of course, for G2 will get them to the playoffs, and they're right up there as tournament favourites, you know. Like, G2 going into this one, I wasn't sure. The Americas have typically done a great job in the last couple of years. Like, the fact that Evil Geniuses won last year, I think, was very indicative that the Americas is the strongest region, and therefore the best team in the best region will typically win. Right now, that could well be G2 from the Americas. Whether it's going to be good enough to take down, you know, let's say Fnatic, or take down maybe even Lev, I mean, who knows? And it is early days in the tournament, right? But I think PaperX will have a fair bit to think about going into their losers round game, which is going to be coming shortly. But very much interested in your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.